All right, welcome to Wednesday's lesson on multi-step equations. Make sure that you have your warm-up, your notes, and a calculator. At this point, I would start your warm-up. So you have Wednesday's warm-up. Should take you about 6 or 7 minutes. When you're ready, unpause the video, and I'll be there to go over it with you. All right, number one. Again, we've been working on this week with using our technology, aka our calculator. Remember, the entire expression, the part where there is variables, we have to be able to solve first. So in this problem, we're actually going to have to distribute that 1.5, do an over under. So again, I'm going to drop down that negative 5x. I can't put 1.5 times the quantity of 15 minus 2x into my calculator because the calculator cannot handle that variable. So I'm going to have to distribute. Once I have my x's and my constants separated, I'll be able to do it. So again, I'll show this one on my Desmos calculator. So again, I would take that outside 1.5. I'm going to multiply that by 15, and I'm going to get positive 22.5. When I do the under, I'm going to get times negative 2. So I'm going to take that outside 1.5 and multiply that by negative 2. It says negative 3, negative 3x. And again, I'm going to drop down that plus 22. From there, now I can combine like terms. So I have a negative 5x and a negative 3x. So I would go over to my calculator. Negative 5 minus 3 says that it would be negative 8x. And then again, I have a positive 22.5 plus 22. Again, we'd be able to do that mentally, 44.5. Number two, we're going to determine the constant of proportionality from the table shown below. So again, anytime we're trying to find the constant of proportionality, we're taking a y value and dividing it by our x pair. Again, it doesn't matter where I would have went. I could have picked any row here. As long as I'm dividing its y by its x, you should have gotten an answer that was equal to negative 0.75, sorry. Number three says write an expression equivalent to the following. So again, I was combining my a terms with my a terms and my x terms with my x terms. So I did 3 minus 2 minus 5 to get negative 4x, and then negative 7 plus 10 to combine my x's to get positive 3. You could have written it as negative 4x plus 3 or 3 minus 4x. And then the last one, number four, we're determining the area of the shaded region below. First thing I noticed is that I have two shapes. I have a square labeled 10. So if it's a square and I know one side is 10, it's also showing me that the width could have been 10 here by the diameter line of the circle. Now I know that if I wanted to find the area of that, I would do length times width. I did 10 times 10, and I would have found that if this was just a square, the inside of that square would have had an area of 100 square meters. But there was also a circle, and we were taking that area out of it to make find just the corners in yellow. So again, all I did was draw a circle. I labeled what they gave me, which was my diameter of 10 meters. I said that I know that if my diameter is 10, my radius would be 5. I'm using my area formula for a circle, so area is equal to the radius times to the second power times pi. Again, I had my radius ready for me, got rid of my diameter. Pi times 5 to the second power is 78.5. And again, now I would have known that the inside of this circle would have been 78.5 square meters. But again, since I had to do shaded region, I know that that 100 area was being taken, 78 of it was being taken away, and you should have gotten an answer around 22. If you need to rewind the video at any point to go over any of the warm-up questions, do that at this time. If not, well, let's do the activator today. So part of today is going to be, we're going to be using the distributive property to simplify some equations to be able to solve. So I want you to expand the following expressions using the distributive property over under. This should take you about 3 minutes, but if it takes you less, go ahead and unpause the video at that time and get it going. Okay, the first one on the far left, we had a negative 2 times x, negative 2 times positive 1x would be negative 2x, and then negative 2 times negative 6 would be positive 12. Again, if you can't do this mentally, you should be doing this in your calculator. The one in the middle, I have a positive 3 times 2, which is positive 6, and a positive 3 times a positive 4y, which would give me positive 12y. And then the last one, this outside negative 1/2 times 4x would be negative 2x, and negative 1/2 times negative 2 would give me a positive 1. So again, we're going to be taking this exact property and we're going to be putting it into what we've been working on so far with two-step equations. So today we'll be using the same exact things that we've been doing, where we've been following the golden rule of whatever we do to one side of the equation, we do the same thing. We're going to isolate the variables using inverse operations, and we're going to use our operations of addition and subtraction and multiplication and division. So this first example, again, the issue is we do not have this problem simplified. So the first thing we're going to want to do is expand this into a two-step equation. So again, same thing. If I just took part of this problem and I hid it from you, we would all know exactly what to do. So again, everything that we've learned so far is still true in math. So I know that if I see an outside number touching a parenthesis with numbers and variables on the inside, I need to use the distributive property and do what we call over-under. 2 times 1x would give me 2x, and 2 times negative 8 would say negative 16. But again, we know that the left side of this equation is also equal to the right side, which is equal to 28. Now that I have the problem set up properly, I can go ahead and go right back to what we've been working on, where we find the middle of that problem by breaking it through the equal sign. We locate where our variable is. It's over here on the left side. And I start doing my inverse operations by getting rid of my constant numbers, the numbers that are without variables. So what's being done to my 2x? It's being subtracted by 16. I now know that the opposite of minus 16 would be to add 16 to both sides. Again, whatever I do to one side to cancel and drop down what I need to solve, I do the other side in my calculator. 28 plus 16 would be equal to 44. And again, since this is a two-step equation, I still have 2 times x equals 44. The inverse operation or opposite of multiplying 2x would be to divide each side by 2. 2x divided by 2 leaves me with my ultimate goal of getting 1x by itself. And then 44 divided by 2 would be 22. So I would find out that x is really equal to 22. All right, let's do one more together. So again, same thing. Again, it doesn't matter what side the variable's on. Again, if I were to hide this part of the problem that we've all seen before, we would know exactly what to do. So we're going to start there by taking that outside negative 2 and multiplying it by the quantities on the inside. So negative 2 times positive r is negative 2r. Then I have a negative 2 times negative 4, which would give me a positive 8. But again, I know that the right side of this equation is also equal to its left side of negative 20. But again, once I set up the problem, I'm right back to be able to solve. I'm going to break the equation through the middle of my equal sign. Now this time my variable's on the right side, but what's being done to my negative 2r? It's being added by 8. So the first thing I need to do to get negative 2r by itself would be get rid of that plus 8 by subtracting 8. Negative 20 minus 8 is negative 28, and we now know that that is what negative 2 times r equals. Since I said negative 2 times r, I'm going to divide each side by negative 2, my coefficient, and then negative 28 negative 28 divided by negative 2 is positive 14, and we can say that 14 is really equal to r. So hopefully at this point you realize that this is really actually just what we've been working on, kind of all put together here so far in our algebra unit. So I want you to take no more than the next 8 minutes. Again, if you can do this faster than that by all means, unpause the video and go ahead and get started on these 4 and see how you're doing. Okay, so let's go over these 4. First one, I have 3 times the quantity of w minus 2 equals 9. First thing I wanted to do is I wanted to make sure that I did my over-under right here, and I set up my equation as 3 times w minus 6 is equal to 9. The first thing I did was get rid of my minus 6 by adding 6 to both sides. 9 plus 6 gave me 15, and then I had 3 times w, so I did my inverse of multiplying by 3 by dividing each side by 3 to get rid of my 3w, and get w is equal to 5. 15 divided by 3 gave me 5. Second example where we had the 3/5 times the quantity of x plus 2 is equal to 9. Again, the first thing that I wanted to do was do my over-under and get that 3/5 distributed. 3/5 times x is 3/5 x. 3/5 times 2 is 1.2. Now I left it as decimals. If you left it as fractions, that's okay. Just make sure that we got the same answer at the end. Also equals 9. So the first thing I had to do in order to get this 3/5 x by itself was to get rid of my plus 1.2. So I subtracted each side by 1.2 to get 7.8. 3/5 times x equals 7.8. So I had to divide each side by 3/5 to get x is equal to 13. 7.8 divided by 3/5, you should have gotten a final answer of 13. And the next example where we had 4 times the quantity of 2d plus 5 is equal to 92. First thing again, I wanted to distribute my outside number and set up my equation. I had 8d plus 20 is equal to 92. The first thing I wanted to do is get rid of my plus 20 by subtracting 20. 92 minus 20 gave me 72. And then I had 8 times d equals 72, so I divided each side by 8 to get d is equal to 9. 72 divided by 8, you should have gotten d is equal to or the same as 9. And then our final example here where we had 3 times the quantity of a minus 5 is equal to negative 21. Again, I did my distributive property, got 3 times a, 3a, 3 times negative 5, negative 15. The whole thing still equals negative 21. Broke my equation into a left side, right side, located that variable and got rid of my minus 15 by adding 15 to both sides. Negative 21 plus 15 gave me negative 6. 3 times a is equal to negative 6. Divide each side by 3. Negative 6 divided by 3 gave me negative 2. A is equal to negative 2. Now, today's assignment, it has 12 questions. The bit.ly.'s there. Should take you about 20 minutes, may take you a little less, again, depending on how fast you've been grasping this. If you've been struggling at this point, I would make sure to go back through those other 2 videos that we had where it was more of just the basics of solving 2-step equations. And at this point, if you have any questions, make sure that you're asking for help. Make sure you're showing all works and steps on a separate sheet of paper to be turned in, and we're going to make sure that you're using your examples in your calculator to get these solved. Good luck.